Here with Concordia head shooting sports coach Scott Moniot to preview the season, and as we record this, just a few days away from getting going with the first really big competition of the season. First off, I wanted to take a little bit of a look at last season. Program continues to raise the bar and set a lot of records. How did you feel like things went according to the expectations that you have for this program?
Well, sure. Last year with the whole COVID interruption, some of the events got canceled early on. Quite a few of the teams couldn't, participate. So it kind of changed the whole landscape and kind of everything that you were looking at. For us as a team, we came off, that very first season that we had here as we made the transition, got it all put together for the national championships, and going into the next season, it was about managing expectations, and then COVID hits and shuts everything down. And then of course, last year, we have a little bit of a hiccup, and some of the events get shifted around. So it was still kind of that, you felt like you were on unsteady ground. You really weren't sure how to plan your season. I mean, you planned it according to what you wanted to do, what you wanted to set out to do and accomplish. Obviously, taking that next step up raising the bar a little bit is what we were looking to do. But I think there was a lot of anxiety. A lot of the kids were wondering, are we going to get to compete as much? Are things going to change at the last second? So, we talked about that up front, and we said, we're going to approach this as if it's going to be a full season, and we're going to get to work, we're going to do our job. And if we have to make some adjustments along the way, we'll make those adjustments. I mean, that's kind of the way it is in life, and we're going to have to look at it that way. So that's kind of how we set the season up last year, and I felt like overall we did a really good job with what we were able to handle and maintain. All in all, I thought it was a good season for not being quite what a normal season would be.
Right. Hopefully we're back to normal then, mostly this fall and next spring. I know recently that the program got a boost from some new indoor facilities, which allows you to train a little bit more during the winter months. Can you kind of explain a little bit maybe how that facility is used and how you've taken advantage of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Fortunately here, Concordia is extremely supportive of the program, and we put in an indoor training room. What that really looks like is we have an 18-foot screen, digital screen up on the wall in the training room, and it's over in the new Dunklau Center. And my office is also incorporated within that, so it makes it kind of nice. I can sit there and do some work, and we have accessible, for the kids to be able to come in and train. And that got finished last year, literally just in the nick of time, because we had that Arctic blast where temperatures plummeted, crazy below zero for a few weeks, and it's a little rough to go out there and shoot when it's in those kind of conditions. Not to mention a lot of the machines won't throw, and so we were able to quickly shift everything over and not miss a beat. We were able to hold practices indoor where it's warm, and the kids are actually training with their own firearms. We have basically it's a laser sensor that goes on the gun, and then it digitally reads on the screen. It's pretty high-tech stuff, and if you know how to operate it right, it really helps you understand the game. It gives you visuals that you normally can't see out there in the real world. We had one of our young ladies train on it for those 2 weeks, and then she went out and actually shot her best scores ever, and actually ran scores in events that she had not done her job perfectly before, because it helped her visualize how these changes we were working on to get her there work. And so, it's pretty exciting to have that. I think the kids really like it too.
I know we've talked about Erin Locke a lot in the past, who she's, after many years with the program, she also was a GA. She's moved on now, but what was kind of the legacy that she left behind, and how did she help carry this program even into the future?
Well, sure. I mean, Erin obviously, was here before I came to be here as the coach, and so she was with the team before. And then, obviously, she finished off, her senior season, and then was a GA for the next 2 years. And, she set the bar pretty high, which is exciting, because anytime you have an athlete like that you can basically, as a coach, step on their foot, which kind of is a visual picture for, the coach keeping the foot on the gas of the athlete, keeping that car moving at a high level. Everybody else has to kind of rise up to the occasion. It isn't that we have team members that are looking to beat other team members. We have team members that are looking to do their job, and if they do their job better than anybody else on the team, then yeah, the results will speak for themselves. But it isn't about inner tension or anybody competing against somebody else on the team. I mean, last year, Erin led the conference championship. First time we've ever won a conference championship here at Concordia, and it's the first time also a female actually won the conference championship. Erin outshot everybody by several targets, and that's over the course of 5 different events. So I mean, not only was she the top female high overall, she was top high overall. So which for a pretty, we no joke, we have the most dominant female team in the nation, and that just goes to show you what kind of what kind of ability there can be. And it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, whether you're a freshman or even a graduate student. If you do your job right on any given day better than anybody else, you can have the results you're looking for. So yeah, Erin really set that bar up there. And then of course, then she goes on and gets her dream job as a police officer down in Hays, Kansas. And so yeah, we're pretty proud of her. And she finished well. She also went down, her main discipline was skeet and international skeet. Last year we didn't have the international championships because of COVID, but she went down to the national championships, and she did what she set out to do when she came here. She ran 100 straight, did her job perfect, and won the national championship. So she ended her career as not only the conference champion, but she ended her career as, in her own discipline, the one that mattered probably the most to her, as the national women's champion with a perfect run. So, yeah, it was. She set the bar pretty high.
Yep. Now they have to come meet that in the next coming years. But
exactly.
We know college shooting just seems to be getting more and more competitive, and I think that was something you saw at the national championships too. But what can you say about how things are progressing and how things are really going to a higher level?
Well, obviously there are more and more young people in the shooting sports. Maybe not quite what you see on the media, but honestly it's the fastest growing sport, especially at the high school level, and it's one of the fastest growing sports for women. And so along those lines, obviously a lot of colleges and universities are looking at that going, might be a good way to to maintain enrollment numbers and everything else. And so Iowa alone has added probably 15 to 18 colleges here in the last few years with shooting sports programs. And I mean, they're popping up around our state here in Nebraska. Wayne State just started another program. The Dakotas are starting. They're just starting to pop up everywhere. What that has done is that's put a lot more talent into the national championships and your conference championships and all your regional events. I mean, we went to the national championships and we had pretty high expectations, but COVID changed the way the national championships are run, and 2 of our best events were actually dropped out of the national championships to kind of condense it, get everybody through. So, we knew going into it, probably wasn't going to be in our favor, last year, but we still went down there. And in the 4 events we did shoot, we actually broke 3 of our team records for national championships. And we went from 4th in the nation to 7th in the nation. So we broke 3 records out of 4 events. I mean, the best we've ever shot down there, and we went down in the podium. That's how competitive it has gotten. It is, I mean, when you're shooting, when every kid's shooting 100 targets, 500 targets per event, and you only have teams missing out of 500 targets, they're coming in with 495s to 499s, and every once in a while a 500 out of 500. You cannot afford to drop very many targets, and it's really fun as a coach to have that competitive environment, because that just means you've got to bring your A game and you got to stay on it. Nobody's going to hand it to you. You really have to go out there and do your job better. And it's a challenge because you're shooting over the course of maybe 3 to 5 days, depending on how you set it up as a coach and how many kids you have, and you don't know what the weather's going to be. So some team may get to shoot on a day with a little better weather on one event, but then you're shooting at another time or another event. So, it's not quite head to head. So there are so many pieces that go into it. It's just, to me, it's kind of like the ultimate challenge of how do you get ready to do your job on every day, not knowing what your weather is going to be like and what time you're necessarily going to shoot. So how do you get everybody ready? That's the fun part about it.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that sometimes you see some of the best shooters in the entire country at some of these events, and some of them are at Concordia too. But I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about maybe some individuals that have had that opportunity to compete, kind of represent the country or compete at those big, large-scale competitions. But can you give us a little bit of a sum of that?
Yeah, well, we've had quite a few that have had some pretty high successes. Going back a couple of years ago when we had the Olympic trials, Emma Van Dossler, who was I think she was either a sophomore or junior for us that year. She finished third in the junior division down in Kerrville, Texas, in one of the Olympic trials down there. And so that was pretty exciting for her to finish as a bronze medalist there. She didn't make the Olympic team because it's a 2-part selection process, but it's still fun when kids can go down there and have that kind of success. Obviously, Erin Locke was down there at the same time. Literally, she was only 8 targets, 8 targets out after 250 targets of having a chance to shoot for the Olympic spot, the quota spot. So, obviously Erin put herself, well within the top 10 in the whole United States at those Olympic trials. And so, it was fun to see those kind of things. And then Erin did get a chance to go over and shoot for Team USA over in Dubai and represent Team USA over there. And so, she had a lot of fun doing that. And it's kind of fun when the kids get to go. And, not only are they representing Concordia in our program, they're representing their families, our team, but they're also representing our whole country. And then, we've got several on the team right now that are looking to do the same thing. Several of them are hoping, 2024 is going to be, the Olympics are going to be in France, and 2028 supposedly LA. And so we got a couple of, we got some serious talent on the team and contenders that, there's a lot that goes into that, as we all know, with the Olympics, but we've got quite a few that are kind of on that path. Right now, we have Jack Nelson, who's a sophomore. He's going to be taking off here in about 2 weeks, and he'll be heading to Lima, Peru, and he'll be representing Team USA as one of the Junior World Championships. It's actually for juniors, which are 21 and under. That's as big as it gets. Actually, it'll be more competitive at the World Championships than it was at the Tokyo 2020 games that just took place. And so Jack will be doing that, and then we have several other athletes that have come in that have the potential to do exactly what Jack is doing and more. And we have Sophia. She's a freshman this year. She's going to be attending Moniot, Italy here. She'll be taking off in about a week and a half and representing Team USA in the actually in the World Paralympic Championships. So yeah, it's fun to see the kids have those kind of opportunities, and we've got quite a few here that have that potential. And I think those are all on the international games, but on the American side of things, we have one of our seniors, two of our seniors actually, Colton Ludermark. He won the state of Iowa NSCA Sporting Clay Championships for the whole state of Iowa as a high overall. And so the state of Iowa is paying his entry fee to go to the national championships for sporting clays in San Antonio in October. And then we have another one of our other seniors, Nicole Breeze. She actually won in the Iowa NSSA, which is the National Skeet Shooters Association. She won a championship there, and she will be also going down and representing not only the state of Iowa for both of them, but also for Concordia, be representing ourselves at the Skeet National Championships as well. So it's kind of fun to see those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Maybe somewhat of an unofficial start to the season. There was a freshman competition
Yes.
at Fort Hays. What were some of the takeaways from that event from your perspective?
Well, some of the takeaways, we have a really good group of freshmen that came in, and so it's going to be exciting to see how they develop. We also found out that Fort Hays and Hastings also have a couple of really good freshmen, males and females, that came in. So I mean, that just bodes really well. We're going to have a very competitive conference. With the groups that we've seen come in here in the last 2 years. So it's going to be fun to see how it all comes together for each one of the teams, and obviously looking forward to seeing how they develop as well. I mean, nobody shot perfect scores. I mean, there were a few perfect scores shot, but nobody overall shot perfection all the way through. But a few of them set the bar pretty high, and we got a little work to do.
Know that the Concordia Bulldog Sporting Invitational has been running now for several years.
Yeah.
How satisfied are you with how that event has kind of grown and taken off?
Yeah. Well, I'm really satisfied about the format and how we have it set up and the timeliness of how we run, our sporting clays events, because we shoot 2 different courses on sporting clays, 100 targets each. So, we're shooting those 2 events, and then we add another 100 super sporting on top of that. So it's an all sporting weekend, 300 targets. Price is great, the facilities are phenomenal, and we've had really pretty good weather every year in October. I mean, leaves are changing. It's just beautiful up at Brainerd at Oak Creek. And so as far as how the whole event comes off, I think it's running really smooth. The only thing is we've had a few COVID hiccups the past 2 seasons, so we've had teams not be able to participate, and then the one year obviously it was canceled because of COVID. So so it's kind of hard to really know where we're sitting. It'd be nice if the numbers were. We have room to add quite a few more. We got a letter from one of the Oklahoma teams the other day saying that that is probably their favorite event of the whole fall, is coming up there and shooting out in the woods. It's just beautiful that time of year, and so they're really looking forward to coming. So fingers crossed, this whole COVID thing kind of settles back down, and everybody's here this year, and we'll see how much growth we have. But looking forward to a good time.
And kind of focusing on the team as a whole, as mentioned, come off a conference championship, and you placed 7th at Nationals in Division II. Hopefully that's back to the full format for Nationals next spring. But what do you talk about as far as expectations? What would make this a successful season in your eyes?
Well, it all depends on how you want to define success. I mean, of course, that's a standard answer for anybody on that question. Some of the exciting things that I look at is the unity of the team. I mean, coming from where we've come from and switching over from a club to a varsity sport, blending a new program with an old program, going in a different direction, making it an all athletic kind of varsity sport. There's been a lot of transition and a lot of little waves that we've had to kind of get over. So for me, being to watch the season be successful, I mean, yeah, everybody wants to win. I mean, that's why we're competitive, right? But honestly, it's really not about the winning. It's about the growth. It's about watching these young people grow and become young adults. I mean, we faced some adversity. As a team, we were able to get through it. As a team, we stayed together. As a team, we got better, even though we finished further down. We still came out knowing we did our jobs. And that's kind of how life is. And so for me, that is really the success, is seeing these. I mean, we had a 100% retention rate. Everybody came back that was eligible to come back. Everybody graduated that was able to graduate. I mean, those are the successes that you don't see because they're not a win-loss column with either an X or an O, And I mean, our team GPA has gone from like 2.9% the first semester we took over as a club, and we're up to 3.42% as a team GPA right now. And I mean, and we've got kids in biochemistry and physics and all these upper end. I mean, I don't even know how they get all their studies done and maintain those GPAs. We got some of the gals helping the guys and tutoring the guys, and the guys helping the other guys. I mean, just seeing the whole team gel and help each other and work as a unit, to me, that is success. Obviously, if we do our jobs right, we'll have success out on the fields too. And I know that's what most everybody sees at the end, are the wins and the losses. But there's so much more that happens that I think really defines the success of our program. And it's I hope the kids understand that someday, that it wasn't just about the winning and losing. It's how we played the game and the way we played the game, and what we did for each other while we were doing that. That's what really excites me.